Bring him nearer." "His name is Joe Maloney," replied Corinna. "A timid, dear kind of thing. Let us touch him." Joe recoiled, but Corinna only smiled and took his hand and held it to the woman, who touched it with her twisted fingertips like claws. "Her name is Nanti Solo," said Corinna. "Say hello, Nanti Solo." "Hell, he has trouble with words," said Corinna. "Words," said Nanti. "That's no matter. Words is babble and noise and nonsense, Joe Maloney. But you know that, don't you?" Joe chewed his lips. There was a pale membrane stretched across her eyes, clouding her iris and pupil, but it was as if she saw through this thing and right into his heart. She squeezed his hand and grinned. "What is words beside a lark's song, eh?" Above her eyes, just above her eyebrows, there was a scar, a horizontal band of red that stretched straight across into the darkness beneath the thin red hair. A line as if at one time her head had been sawn off or slashed in two, as if the top third had been lifted off and placed back down again. "Your flesh is soft as buttercups," she said, "and I see enough to see that my Corinna's been at you, boy. What is it? Ah, tiger. Bless you both. Where you come from?" "Hell, they let you out of there?" She wheezed and cackled and doubled up on herself. Corinna smiled. "Nanti is lovely," she whispered. "She'll do you no harm." The ancient woman and the young girl contemplated the tiger-faced boy. Joe took his hand from Nanti, turned away toward a group of pictures. There was a blurry Polaroid, white animals grazing in the circus ring. Joe leaned close, squat little things, their horns growing in twists and curves. He leaned closer. He moved his head aside so that whatever morning light there was could fall upon the picture. And what he thought was true. Each animal had just one horn growing at the center of its head. Nanti cackled. "Unicorns, yes. You ever see their like before?" Joe shook his head and stared again. Beside the unicorns was a much older picture. A huge, sleeping tiger in a net, carried by bearers on long poles from the edge of a dense forest. Then another, a tiger again, in a net again, being carried by bearers through the open flap of Hackenschmidt's circus. He tried to match the tiger that entered the tent with the tiger that left the forest. Nanti laughed. "Come back to Nanti, Joe. Let her smell you true. Let her divine you." She tipped her awful head to one side. "You been this way before?" He lives here," said Corinna. "Ah, and don't we all? No memory of being any other place? No memory of travelling with a bunch like us?" "No," said Joe. Nanti drew Joe toward her. She bent down and sniffed his throat. She ran her fingers through his hair and sniffed her hands. She held her open hands below Joe's face. "Spit in here," she said. Corinna nodded. "Just do it, Joe." He licked his dry mouth and spat, a sparse spray that glistened in tiny droplets on the dark, creased skin of her palms. Nanti giggled. "That's all, but it'll do." She raised her hands to her nostrils and breathed in deeply. She caught Joe's hand and lifted it to her mouth. She licked his palm. "Nice," she whispered. "Nice, nice." "Yes," said Corinna. Nanti's pale eyes softened as she pondered. "And who'd you say your father and mother was?" I, Corinna clicked her tongue. "Just tell her, Joe." "Mum's in Helmouth. Works in Boosbin. Dad ran the Tilt-a-Whirlin' affair. One of that crew. And he's gone and left you long time back." Step closer. Let Nanti listen to your heart." She took his elbow and rested her ear against his chest. Joe felt his heart quickening, thumping. "Aye," she whispered. "The heart is beating in you as it should. Then far beyond it is the secret one, like some creature panting in a deep, dark cave." She reached beneath the covers on her bed, drew out a broad, shallow wooden box. On the lid of the box was a tracery of silver. Nanti lifted the lid. In the pale light, Joe saw teeth, feathers, claws, fragments of bone, fragments of fur. Nanti closed the lid and gently rattled the box.